Hello and welcome to Here's a Thought, a podcast for teens by teens. I'm Holly.
I'm Tegan.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Leaf.
Today we are going to be talking about bullying. Tegan?
Yep.
Have you ever been bullied?
I have a lot since through my childhood. Since now. Still continuing, but I'll have to get used to it.
Yeah, I have also been bullied, although mine is a lot less recent. It was in lower school when I was a child. Leaf?
I was bullied quite a bit throughout my life, specifically in lower school and secondary school. So, yeah.
And I was bullied quite a bit in my middle school and in girl guiding.
Could you just get a little bit closer to the mic, Maya?
I might take my mask off. I think that might be better.
Yes, thank you. I can hear you better now. What was that like for you guys?
Difficult.
Yeah, that's fair. If you're comfortable sharing details, you absolutely do not have to, any of you. But if you're comfortable, like who was the person bullying you? What did the school or the organisation where the bullying was happening do to help you with that?
Well, my middle school didn't do much because this was when all the middle schools in the area were closing, so we didn't have that many teachers. So nobody could do anything about it, and it was just kind of left to happen, which wasn't great. And in girl guiding, I told multiple people, hey, this is happening, I need help, and I'm not the only one that this is happening to. This is happening to a lot of other people as well. And they basically just told me to stop acting so depressed and be more part of the group. So that didn't help either. It just kind of made me feel worse.
I get that that's a case with a lot of people who are being bullied, and that's really not okay. I'm sorry that happened to you. Like I said, mine was in lower school. It was actually pretty much every other student in my year that was doing it, which, was fun. And the school, the teachers didn't do much individually when it was actually occurring, but from what I've gathered, from what I've been told, it did help with the bullying, but I feel like it was not the best approach because it singled me out, because they took me out of assembly one day and proceeded to talk to the entire year about how bullying me specifically needed to stop. I think this was in year 3 where they did this. Like I said, it did stop the bullying, but I found out later that they did this, and I was glad that it stopped the bullying, but it felt like it shouldn't have had to happen that way, because it just singled me out to everyone. Like, no one really liked me in lower school, but this just kind of made it worse because now everyone knew, and it was, yeah, not great. Leaf,
Right.
anything to add?
Well, I don't remember what they did in my lower school, but when it came to secondary school, I told some teachers or whatever, they kind of just try and get both point of views and then just tell you to sort out yourself, which in some manner can be really difficult for both parties, or like yourself and whoever else is bullying you, because in some way it's not really going to settle it between yourself. But they didn't really do much inside of that. It was just they provided anti-bullying ambassadors, which didn't do anything, really. They were just there with a high vis. And then, yeah, there was nothing really they did. It was just organise it between yourself, sort it out between yourself, like grow up type of thing.
Tegan?
So I've been bullied for basically my whole life. Teachers haven't done really anything. They're just like, yeah, we'll just leave it. It's just, they're going to stop eventually. But because it is like a continuous sort of rapid going thing, the teachers actually had to get that person excluded from the school permanently. But now it's still continuing at college, because obviously it started when I was first into foster care. So, it's a really horrible experience to go through. like no one should feel bullied by this. Like, it's just how people are acting, sort of kind of thing. Like, shouldn't really happen.
How did the people at your school kind of deal with that apart from excluding?
Oh, I had literally everyone my whole year just gather up on me, just, you know, taking a mick out of me and stuff. They've just been like...
Did the teachers do anything other than exclude the main culprit?
Teachers don't really do anything nowadays, so they didn't really do anything. So, yeah.
What do you think your teachers should have done?
Well, to be honest, I think the teachers just be like talking to the whole year about why people are doing this and stuff. They should just be like talking to probably like a small group of people who are actually doing the bullying. Because obviously everyone was just around me, but most of them weren't bullying. It was just a few people. They should have just spoken to them and tell them just to leave me alone and stuff, or remove them from the classroom or the lessons that they were in, the same lessons as me or something. They should have done that, but they didn't really do anything. It could have been different, but nah.
What about you, Maya? How do you think the people in your situation should have handled it?
I mean, like I said earlier, I feel like even though for the middle school one, it would have been difficult for teachers to handle it because they were like one more teacher was left every single day because school was shutting, their jobs were in jeopardy. So I understand that, but it felt like when we tried to handle it ourselves because the teachers weren't handling it for us, we'd then be the ones that get into trouble. Like, you know, that convenient, oh, the teacher's only there to see you defending yourself kind of thing. So that didn't really help either. And they didn't really address it either, which didn't help. So it just kind of continued on and on until eventually the school shut and I left.
What about with the Girl Guides? How do you think they should have handled it as an organisation?
Well, it's difficult because it happened both in my Brownie troop and in my actual guide troop. And the Brownie troop actually, ironically, dealt with it fairly all right because the group was split into like sixes. And one of the girls in my sixes was being really horrible to me. She was just making my life a misery. And I went and I told our brown owl who's in charge, and she went, yeah, that's fine, I'll just move you to another group. And that actually did help for a while, because then I was away from her, I did no activities with her, which did help. But then we moved up to Girl Guiding, where the system didn't work the same, and we were all kind of lumped together. And I repeatedly went up to the leader, and I was like, hey, this is happening, and they did nothing. And I feel like what they could have done was they could have either addressed it to her directly, who was doing it, they could have addressed it to the group who were doing it as well, and they should have addressed it to the adults, but they just didn't, and they should have done.
Absolutely. Leaf?
Yes, hi. Well, I think, in my opinion, it's also really probably an unpopular opinion, but I feel like there is no specific way to deal with bullying. Like, everyone's going to have a different way that they're going to deal with it, and it works for people. Sometimes that same way could work differently for different people. So, I don't know, for example, talking out between you could work between, I don't know, specific people, but then not work between another person. So obviously it's going to, difference and changes between who's bullying you and who's dealing with it and stuff. So there's never a strict approach to how people can deal with it. But I feel like it definitely depends as well. Like, teachers can change can stop bullying by how they approach it as well, and being more serious about it. Because a lot of teachers, they always have the same presentations about bullying, which are all the same, and they don't really do anything realistically. And they'll stand out on fields and playgrounds and start saying, oh yeah, if you're being bullied, you can come talk to us on the playground or whatever, we can deal with it and stuff. But then when you go ahead and do it, the most they'll do is they'll either say they don't believe you, or they'll be like, okay, we'll go talk to this person, see what we can do about that, see their story of it, and vice versa. And realistically, in the end, nothing gets done. The most you'll do is get a chat, and that's all they really do. There's nothing else between it. I don't think they bring in their parents anymore very much, unless it gets really serious. But there is definitely more different approaches that people can come up with to stop bullying and prevent it from happening.
I absolutely agree. The way you deal with bullying should vary on basis to basis. But Tegan was saying earlier how she thinks that... I'm sorry, really quick, what are your pronouns? Because I've never actually asked. What are your pronouns? She. Okay, just making sure. Because Tegan was saying that she thinks they should deal with it with like assemblies, but obviously, if it's in my case, it was my entire year bullying me specifically, and like if it's a situation like that, obviously the entire year will know that it's about this person has complained, this person is being singled out by the teachers as someone who is being bullied, which I had 2 friends in lower school, and I feel like this situation didn't help because being singled out like that made it so that people didn't really want to talk to me because obviously they might have been afraid, or I don't know. I feel like it could have been, there were main people that did it, but everyone else kind of joined in with them. I feel like it could have helped if the teachers had been more strict on the main people, whether taking away their golden time or, you know, trying to think of the word, but the word's just not coming.
Like only give them a timeout type of thing, like
Yeah.
take away their lunch times and
Or
stuff.
speak to their parents, something so that they know that that behaviour is not acceptable. And if they stop doing it, other people will not follow their lead, which is kind of what was happening. And I feel like that the school could have done that better.
I mean, to have a whole year doing that to you must be really hard. That's like 30 kids.
Even more, I think it's like
More.
120 at least, maybe, depending on how many
It-
classes you have a year.
It wasn't a
Yeah.
huge year. I think it was probably closer to like 50 kids. What really hurt is people I thought were my friends were actually in on it as well.
Oh,
But yeah.
So they were all like following the kind of like leaders. They're like, how to explain, but you know how sheep in like a farm follow specific.
Yeah.
It's like,
Um,
they're following the sheep.
How would you guys say you've coped with the effects bullying have had on you as a person?
Well, the effects would probably be when I was a lot younger. I used to be really outgoing, or like I'd be more confident and stuff, like with the sport I did and everything. But like as I grew up, it was kind of like the more bullying, the more the bullying consisted, the more it was like I was losing my confidence and things like that. And so it's kind of like as I am now, I'm a lot less quieter compared to when I was like 10 years ago. Well, that's too far, but like when I was like 7, 8, 9, I was different. Like, so obviously I'm more closed in on myself than I am outgoing. So
What about you? How would you say bullying's affected you as a person?
Well, I guess pretty similar. Like when I was a little kid, I guess I was like the head of every single game in my lower school. But because of everything that kind of happened, like when I got to high school, I shut myself off from a lot of people. I don't think I handled it well at all. I kind of just, like I said, I shut myself off. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was kind of that person who sort of like, blends into the crowd, just tries not to be seen, keep a low profile. And it's only recently I've started trying to be a bit more outgoing. I think the only thing I've started being a bit more proactive about it more recently because I've realised that what I was doing was unhealthy. And I've started like getting like stress toys and things to try and help me talk to other people. I guess just find my voice again.
Yeah. Tegan?
I have coped with some of it. I'm just still trying to figure out the rest. Obviously, I was really quiet, but then it got up to like upper school. I was like loud, trying to be ahead of everyone, trying to be like, I don't know. But yeah, it's a situation that has to be dealt with.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people who experience bullying become a lot more withdrawn and quiet as a result. I know I certainly did because my parents like to describe me as like a happy child, like very outgoing. But sort of as I was kind of transitioning into middle school, I became very, very quiet, withdrawn. I didn't make friends until my second year. Like I would sit in a corner of the playground and read my book all by myself. It wasn't until fairly recently, I think, just before lockdown, that I started trying to break out of my shell. Like NCS specifically has actually really helped me because like I was quite anxious to go meet new people, engage with new people, but it's shown me that people can be really nice and supportive if you just try and engage with them and make new friends.
It's definitely hard to come back from being bullied. So when I started college, I was planning on being like a really quiet kid, like that person who just sat at the back of the classroom doing whatever, like doing my work type of thing, because that's what I did. Like I'd always sit on my own. Like when I was on my own, I'd work faster. I'd do everything. But because of my college and because of the course I do, there was only 3 girls, including myself, in my class. And there's 4 groups, but in my class there was only 3, including myself. And so the rest of them were boys. So it was kind of like, well, the 3 girls kind of had to stick together. And so that's what we've done. So we've all just stuck together, and like in some manner, it's still hard coming back from being bullied for, like in Tegan's case, most of their life. And some of us, just as we were younger and we're still growing up, coming from that more than most people are, because unfortunately Tegan's in a different situation compared to the rest of us in terms of her situation. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to come out of it and grow your confidence back that you probably once had or that you're still going on, while the rest of us have had more time to grow that confidence back. So it's definitely difficult to come back from it and continue your life once again as you want it to be and reach your dreams again.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence is still trying to build up, but I have people every day just coming up to me and be like, why have you done this, this, and this? And I'm like, I haven't done anything. They bully me for it, and then it just breaks down again. It's just like a cycle that keeps going and going and going. I'm just like, I've had enough of it. So.
Is there anyone you typically turn to for support, like with like friends, family? Is there a charity or organisation that like you talk to that can help, like when you're feeling like your confidence is breaking down, or are you kind of dealing with it internally?
I mean, I'm trying to deal with myself, but I have told like a member of staff from the college. She's helping me with it, get through all of it. But my friends don't really care. I know it's a big situation, but my friends don't care. My dad doesn't know, because that's the only person I live with now. He doesn't. I don't tell him anything now. I'm just always shutting him out. I have to keep making excuses, just tell him why I'm upset and stuff. But yeah, friends don't care. At least I've got someone that cares in the college, which is basically what I need.
Yeah, it's always good. Like even if it's a teacher, someone you don't like talk to outside of this, it's always good to have someone that you know cares and is in your corner.
Yeah.
What about you, Maya? Did you have anyone like that at the time? Do you have anyone since that you've talked to about it?
I don't really talk about it that often, if I can help it. I don't really. My mum tried to support me, but she didn't really know what to do. Like she'd sometimes try and get involved, but that would sometimes it worked, sometimes it backfired. But like more recently, since then, I've just kind of kept it to myself, dealt with it myself, do my own things that I know work. Yeah.
Well, when I was being bullied, I used to come home like crying all the time, right? So obviously that's kind of hard to miss and avoid. So I kind of had to tell my parents what had happened and everything. And realistically, the best advice they could genuinely give you is to ignore them, which it's good advice, but really bad advice at the same time. Because, for example, especially if it's verbal bullying, it's like they're in some manner they're trying to hit you with like things that can affect you mentally and like, I don't know, for example, just really hurt you. And that's really difficult to avoid and try and block out. So say if it was like, I don't know, physical harm, which I hope none of you have ever like witnessed or like been part of or like type of thing. But that's a lot, in some manner it's easier to block out compared to the verbal bullying and verbal words, because it's not as emotional. Like it can't give you that much emotional damage compared to being injured from like a kick or something, for example. But that is probably the best and the worst advice you'll ever hear, and it does help a lot. It's just, you've got to think of on the brighter side, you know. Say, for example, like in 2 years you'll be gone, you'll never see these people again. So you just got to think you're better than them, or like in some manner, mentally obviously not physically say that, but like just think you're better than them and that you can move on from this and you'll never have to see them again after you finished your time at that school. And you just, the best you can do is either ignore it or just try your best to continue even with all their words.
Yeah, like that is very good advice, but at the same time, it can be incredibly difficult to have that perspective of never going to see these people again after 2 years' time. Because obviously at the time, you're so young, 2 years could be a fifth of your lifespan. And it's like, how do you cope with that for another fifth, a sixth of your lifespan? And it's like, it's very difficult. Because that's like a very mature thing to say. And children aren't mature. They can't think about it that way.
I feel like as children, like 5, 6, it's a lot harder to differentiate between whether it's bullying or if they're just having a laugh type of thing. Because normally when you're like 5 or 6, it's more of that. It's kind of like, it's one day thing. Like they'll probably say one comment and then the next day you'll be like best friends type of thing. It was like kind of like that. But as you grow up, things can get like worse, or like you soon realize that they're not being friendly, they're being rude and all this, and it can affect how you see people, and it can even like in some manner give you like trust issues, things like that, because you're like, well, what if that person like bullies me, or like even if someone says one thing about you, like in an honest opinion, like you could be asking your best friend like, oh, how do I look in my outfit, for example, and they could be telling the honest truth, say, I don't know, maybe you could wear a different shirt, for example, like I don't know, like somewhat harmful, but to you, because of all the bullying, you could be like, you could be really paranoid about like what you're wearing for like the next 5 hours, for example. So it's definitely like difficult as you're growing up, and it changes your views on people and things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know personally, I've been left with a lot of issues with my mental health. It took me ages to be able to genuinely trust my friends with things that bothered me. I could not open up about emotional issues with my friends because I was so terrified that they'd use that as an excuse to bully me or just tease me. And comments that they think can be absolutely innocent or like just offhand, they don't think it through, can absolutely devastate you. Because I know there was one person that I opened up to about having pretty severe depression at one time, and they'd had a cousin who had also had pretty severe depression, and they compared my depression to their cousin's depression, and tried to minimize mine using that, and it was just an offhand comment. One comment, they apologized for it later, but it set me back quite a bit in the trust I'd kind of regained in the people around me, and my own just kind of journey for healing.
Yeah, everyone has different ways, or like, I may have never had like as bad as depression as you was, but so like I feel like everyone's gonna have different some way of dealing with their depression, and having someone turn around and say, well, yours wasn't as bad as my cousin's, or like this happened to my cousin, not you, and stuff like that, and like kind of comparing it is not what's gonna help you at all in any way, especially when it is, as you said, one of your closest friends. So it's kind of like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, I can't just suddenly click my fingers and my depression's gone. You know, that's not how it works. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, personally, I found it incredibly difficult to even consider going to someone, an organisation or anyone for help with my mental health. I still haven't approached any like proper organisations, but I've had discussions with some of my friends about it. But it's taken me years because there's a lot of shame and stigma around it, and I feel like more people need to know that it's okay and it's good for you to get help for any trauma you may have from bullying. If bullying is happening, you should absolutely talk to someone about it if you can, if you're comfortable doing that, because it will help immensely.
I feel like a lot of people in society these days think, you know, the term pick me girl and pick me boys. I feel like the moment you start talking about your emotions and how you feel, everyone will start referring to you as a pick me girl or a pick me boy, because you're kind of like, you're not really dumping all your feelings on someone. You're trying to speak out about it, and people obviously don't want to hear your like story and stuff, which is then how they just ignore you and call you names and stuff like that. But I feel like with that, it makes it a lot harder for people to talk about their emotions. Like, I've never been one to enjoy talking about myself to other people. So having all these like people comparing your like own things to like someone they've met, like one of their cousins or family members, as you said, is definitely not the best, and it can definitely change how you talk about yourself, and you can completely lie about how you're feeling on a daily basis, which a lot of people do, which they definitely shouldn't be doing, but I can't really talk about that myself, can I? But yeah, it's definitely good if you can at least talk to anyone about it who will listen to you, even if it's not professional help, and it's like, even your best friend's mum could help.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, anyone who will listen is better than someone who would compare things and call you pick-me's and stuff. But yeah.
Open and honest communication and just having someone to listen is always for the best. What about you two? Anything to add to that?
All I'm just going to say is you just need like a trusted adult. You can openly say your comments and stuff instead of like letting them bullies do it to you. You just need to tell them everything that's what's going on and stuff. You just need someone you can trust.
Okay. How long have we been going? Has anyone been keeping track?
27 minutes.
27 minutes, okay.
That was so long.
Yeah. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add? Anything they think it would be important for... I can't... Does anyone have anything else they'd like to add? Anything they think it's important that anyone who's listening to this who's going through bullying needs to know or should know?
They definitely aren't alone. Like, they won't be alone. They aren't alone. They'll never be alone, because I could list a group of my friends who have been bullied quite a lot of their life, or at least once in their life. And whether they got support or not is a different story. But the people who are being bullied aren't alone. There's always going to be someone out there who can relate to their situation, even if it's not the same thing. People can relate to the fact being bullied and how that can affect them. So definitely, if you can, as Tegan said, find a trusted adult you can talk to. Like, even if it's just someone online who could like listen to you. Like, they may not even like have to respond. They can just like listen to you what you want to say. It's better than nothing, and it's in some manner getting something off your chest. So having someone to talk to, even if you're not talking to someone, like a notebook and pen, not really my type of thing, it doesn't work for me, but writing down something in your notebook could work out for like your feelings and emotions and your like a day-to-day life diary thing, or like listening to music. I don't know, projecting your feelings into something that you think you can enjoy, like sports, music, writing, reading, anything that can help you cope will definitely help you in your situation a lot. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah. Trusted adult, trusted friend, anyone really that you feel comfortable talking to. And if you don't, obviously find something that will just help you cope.
I just want to maybe touch back on the things you mentioned about the sports and stuff, because that definitely helps. So like things, it doesn't have to be like, so you've got a mix of things you can go with, especially with sports. So like sometimes boxing, if you like got a punching bag, that can really, really help, because you can just get out that frustration. Or sometimes sports can give you a social network that then you've got people you can trust and fall back on. So that can help as well, I think.
Yeah, especially with team sports, there's more than one person in that. You have a coach, you have teammates, you have basically all the suppliers, or like all the people you could think of that you can talk to. Even if you aren't as close with them, you still meet them once or twice a week to be able to do that. So
yeah. It's important to build a support system, no matter what that may look like. Anything to say, Tegan?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to like when I said about the trust in adult. If you can't find anyone out there, maybe just call the police or something. That could actually help. Because it could be like something serious, like someone could be tracking you up and you don't know what they're doing to you, and then you're just like, what's going on? And you just know everything. So I think the best thing to do, if you can't find anyone, just call the police.
I feel like police is definitely for more serious situations because it's obviously a very kind of heavy thing to do. But if it does get to that point where you're genuinely afraid, then absolutely. We are getting on in time, so I'd just like to end the podcast by saying if you know someone who's being bullied and nothing is being done about it, or even if something is being done about it, please just be there for them, because that can be so helpful. Like, just watch something with them, just try and engage in conversation about anything, their favourite book, their favourite sport, like if whatever it is they like, just try and engage them. That can help. Maybe if you can do anything, like in regards to the bullying, obviously, that would be great. If you could talk to teachers on their behalf to make them understand the seriousness of the situation, or anything like that. Yeah, just do what you can.
Be their trusted person instead of not doing anything.
Be kind. Anyway, Tegan, would you like to end the podcast?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching this.